Outlaw Sports is brought to you by Molson Canadian, made from Canada, and Rocky Mountain Barbecue, Alberta barbecue cuisine at its best.
Let's go around the CFL, Ian, and talk about different things coming up and different things that took place the past week. First of all, Grant Pollock a few weeks ago said, "Hey, Mike, where in the hell's Romby Bryant?" And I said,
he's been there.
Yeah, he's been there. It's kind of like your first sexual experience, as long as it's there. No matter how good it is, as long as it's there.
And if you don't actually use it, does it make a difference?
As long as it's there.
And the thing is that some people would argue that Romby Bryant's having a pretty good season. He's open a lot. They just haven't found him the ball. In a case of bad luck, I don't see it. I'm seeing times where he's not fighting for the ball. For instance, in the BC game, first play of the game is a pass to him. Now he was pretty covered. Dante Marsh was on him, but Dante Marsh is able to wrestle the ball away from him. Why isn't he making better effort to get that ball away from Dante Marsh? You got to play defender a little bit too. People say that he's a good blocker and he does all the little things. I don't see him as a good blocker. I see him as just a skinny guy who gets pushed around sometimes. So,
and if he doesn't get the ball, how's that attitude transferring
over?
And
the thing is that he's not Nick Lewis. Nick Lewis, after this game, pretty pissed off that he wasn't thrown to in the second half. Romby Bryant wasn't that way. Romby Bryant hasn't made a peep to anybody about it. Now, he could obviously go and say, I'm open on these plays. Why can't I get the ball? He hasn't done that. I'll give him credit for that thing. But maybe it's just that he doesn't want to talk to the media, which is sort of his MO. He just does not want to talk. We leave him alone because he doesn't want to talk because he's difficult to deal with. So there you go.
That's there's the first at the Stampeders office.
Yeah, exactly.
Can you say Alan Pitts?
Yeah, the good comparison there, right?
Yeah. The Stamps still having trouble with that O-line, in my estimation. I just not seeing this year.
Well, I don't think they played too badly against the Lions. I think the running game was not there because Joffrey Reynolds just wasn't hitting those holes.
Yep.
I thought there was a sequence in the first half where it was pretty telling. Joffrey Reynolds is in on first down. They run just a draw play up the middle. The hole's there. He gets nailed, arm tackled, brought down. John Cornish goes in on the next play. John Cornish bursts through the hole, gets the first down gain.
Yeah.
That's the slight difference that the younger guy is making. And for the first time this season, I've actually thought Joffrey Reynolds might be slowing down to the point where, geez, is John Cornish going to pass him on the depth chart? Is John Cornish the guy that should get the bulk of the carries from now on?
Yep. I thought this was going to be the last year for it. I just thought the way the mentality is in the CFL, save money, get rid of the vets, bring up the young guys. We've seen it many, many times. I thought that was going to happen this year. Maybe I'm a season late.
Well, and Wally Bono always used to say, better a season early than a season late, right?
Yeah.
And they did it with Kelvin Anderson. They got rid of him. Jim Barker came in and cut him in the 2003 training camp. He went to BC and had a 1,000-yard season, but he was done after that. Can Joffrey Reynolds turn it around? I hope so. I'd like to see him get 10,000 yards.
Yes.
And then you think 10,000 clicks in the odometer is a lot of mileage in this league. That's why it's amazing that Mike Pringle got 16,000 yards and George Reed had 16,000 yards. That's hard. It's hard to get past the 10,000 mark and then keep going.
When you're talking about marks, I want to talk about the Hall of Fame game and the people that were inducted into the Hall of Fame. Two former Stampeders, Danny McManus, albeit a short career here in Calgary, and Terry Vaughn, who started his career here. Interesting, and I've been harping about this for years, and knowing about throwing a he said, I'd like to have seen what I could have done if I didn't have to throw that fat Spalding ball. Remember before they went to the Wilson ball, they used that big fat Spalding ball. A lot of guys that came up here from the colleges, they just couldn't figure this thing out. If it got wet, it became a fat old pig that would move all over the field. This Wilson ball is a little more similar to what they have in the NFL.
Right.
And honestly,
it's very close. Yeah.
You can throw at least 5 yards further with this ball than you can the Spalding. And so you get a guy with a small hand that comes up here. He's done everything in college, gets here, what the hell is this thing? Danny McManus finally pointed that out. I'm glad someone else is seeing that.
Well, and funny enough, talking with Chris Flynn, college quarterback from St. Mary's, who got inducted to the same class, he showed me his hands. He goes, yeah, when they had that ball, and I was on the run, man, it was hard to throw it. And his hands aren't bigger than mine, and I got baby hands for a man, which is kind of embarrassing. But that's a good point you brought up, because Danny managed to get by, have a really 50,000-yard career, and become one of the all-time greats. for his just, you know, what was Danny McManus known for, right? Yeah, gunning it, but also standing in there and doing it and getting rid of that quick release was great.
Absolutely,
you know?
yeah.
And making sure that nobody hit him. He was a master at that, and he had a great relationship with Darren Flutie over those years.
And Ron Lancaster,
yeah.
the three of them together were...
That was a pretty good good trio. They won a couple of cups together, right? So, Danny McManus, obviously, when you look at it, Henry Burris is getting really close to Danny McManus's touchdowns for passing. You don't think of Henry Burris as a Hall of Famer yet, but I think people start thinking of that. He just passed Tracy Ham. He's coming up on Matt Dunnigan in a couple of years, and Doug Flutie's numbers are right there too. So
if people do not see Henry Burris as a Hall of Famer, they're nuts. Let's go back to that BC Lion game, and in one little play, unfortunately the play after that, they lost it, but he was scrambling and it looked like he was going to get nailed for a loss. Somehow he was able to get out of harm's way about 3 times and scored through for a first down.
Yeah,
and that to me was beautiful.
It was amazing, and especially because it came after he got rolled up on and his ankle was throbbing, he said, throughout the entire game. I was trying to describe that for my newspaper story. I didn't know how to describe it. He went into traffic, came out of it, saw another guy, moved around, went up, got the first down, and then the next play dropped the ball and took a sack.
Yeah, too bad.
But that's the inconsistency that Henry Burris has had all his entire career. And then the play after that, of course, hits Nick Lewis on a 23-yard gain for a first down. Yeah,
that's
ups and downs. It's a roller coaster sometimes, and that's the way it goes.
That's the Samp season. Just briefly before we end this segment, Terry Vaughn, boy, a little guy with a lot of heart and some great speed and some great hands.
Yeah, and it always seemed to get in the hole and find that little spot, and then never went down with first contact, was able to pinball off guys, get those extra yards. He revolutionized the game because now the CFL tracks yak yards. They never used to.
Yeah.
And it was because Terry Vaughn never caught a pass seemingly more than 10 yards long, but he had 13,000 yards for his career. So how does a guy do that? Well, he makes his own yardage, and Terry Vaughn was one of the greats.
Tired of going to redneck barbecues? Well, you better call Rocky Mountain Barbecue. Alberta barbecue cuisine at its best. Great tasting food, clean and efficient service. Check us out online or call Rocky Mountain Barbecue.